Manga-Waido.
My name is Shinichi Kawamura. I'm just your average businessman. No. It'd be better to say I was a businessman. What happened was that the other day, the company I worked for went bankrupt, and I was out of work. The president disappeared, and I couldn't get the money I was supposed to get. I lost all my hope. My wife, Yuko, supported me through this. Yuko, I'm really sorry to make you worry like this. I'll find a new job right away.
We have some savings, so you don't have to rush. It's okay.
Thanks. You're so good to me.
You won't get anything out of me even if you praise me.
Yuko and I had known each other since we were in kindergarten. We went to the same schools up until high school, so we were always together. Because our parents knew each other, that's how we met. My parents worked for a company that makes uniforms. Yuko's parents were running a kindergarten, and they used that uniform for their pupils. Our parents were friends with each other, so we also saw each other often, and we naturally became good friends. Because Yuko's parents did business with us, my family's financial situation was good. When we started going out, both of our parents were overjoyed.
Make sure to behave yourself, alright? Yuko's parents have been very good to us.
Take care of Yuko. If you make her cry, I won't forgive you.
Of course! I'll take good care of her. You don't need to tell me that. Although both of our families had a good relationship, the reality was that my family was the one getting work from her parents. In terms of the relationship balance, Yuko's parents had the upper hand. But Yuko said,
Our parents' work doesn't concern us.
And she was her usual self when she was with me. Thanks to her, I was also able to love her as a woman. I started working for a company and then proposed to Yuko. When I did so, she said,
I'm happy. Let's take good care of each other.
With a smile. Our marriage life was very happy, and we were blessed to have healthy children. Everything was going well, until my company went bankrupt. They're rejecting me too. My job hunting was not going well. A month went by, then 2 months, and after 4 months, I started to get pretty worried. That's when my dad gave me a call.
We don't have enough people. How about you come to work with us?
Thanks. I'll think about it. To be honest, I felt rather embarrassed about relying on my parents, but I couldn't let my family worry any longer about me being unemployed. The fact that my parents reached out to me now was because they probably needed to hire someone. The longer I kept them waiting, the more inconvenience I'd be causing them. I can't let my stupid pride get in the way. I'll do my best! I thanked my father and decided to ask him to let me work for him. But
In the end, do you need to get help from your parents? I thought that you would be able to enter a better company than that.
for some reason, when I decided to work for my father's company, Yuko's behavior suddenly changed. I'm sorry, but the salary will be the same as before, and I don't want to inconvenience you.
How can I explain this to my friends? All my friends' husbands work for good companies. It's embarrassing that you would be working for a small-sized factory. On top of that, you'll be relying on your parents.
Yuko let out a huge sigh. To be honest, I was surprised by this. With the way she was talking, I wondered if deep down, had she been looking down on our family for a long time? It was a shock, but maybe Yuko wasn't her usual self because of job hunting. I wanted Yuko to be back to her kind, usual self. I worked very hard, and I saved $200 for myself as pocket money, and I gave the rest to Yuko. But
The bonus income is only this much? It's half of what you used to get from your previous company.
Sorry, it's only been 2 months since I started working there, so I think it's pretty good that they're giving me a bonus. Don't you think?
I don't want to hear any excuses. What are you planning to do about our children's lessons fees? Rika needs to buy a dress for her upcoming performance. Kenji's saying that he wants a new glove.
We can use our savings for that!
There isn't much left of our savings because we used most of it when you were out of work. Goodness sakes, your salary is so low, and I'm so irritated that you don't even realize how little savings we have left.
But the salary is the same as my previous company's, and I'm also taking less pocket money than before, so...
But, if you have time to make excuses, do some house chores. If you can't earn enough money, it's only natural that you do the house chores to make up for it, right?
I hate to say this, But I was so surprised by Yuko's transformation that I was at a loss for words. But as time went by, why does she have to get so angry with me just because the bonus salary has decreased just once? My dissatisfaction grew. After that,
It was in the way, so I sold it.
Yuko sold the things I had for my hobby on the internet. She also tore the baseball game ticket to pieces. I'd been saving up the money for it by cutting my lunch cost.
If you have time to go watch something like that, do some housework.
She would scream and continue to behave in a terrible manner. When I argued with her,
It's your fault, you know? You didn't fulfill my expectations.
she would readily complain. Give me a break! Do you really not like it that I joined my parents' company?
That's what I've been telling you. A husband's workplace is also the wife's status. Your previous company wasn't first rate, but since the local people knew the company's name, I thought it was all right. But a company that takes on subcontracts looks terrible.
Don't talk about my parents' company like that! Everyone is working hard to make good things! It's a good company!
Your company wouldn't exist if my parents didn't order your uniforms. It's a tiny company. If you're gonna talk to me like that, I can ask my dad to stop placing orders with your company.
Ah! Yuko's parents managed the biggest kindergarten around this area. For that, they placed quite a large number of orders. I couldn't inconvenience my company just because I lost control of my emotions and put Yuko in a bad mood. I decided to repress my anger for now and tried my best not to get in a fight with Yuko. I did what she told me to do. I didn't want to let my kids see the two of us fighting. The kids
I want to do it too!
helped out with the household chores. As long as I keep quiet and do the house chores, Yuko will be happy. As long as I put up with it, I stopped hoping for the gentleness from Yuko as I used to. This kind of life continued for about a year. Yuko said to me,
You go.
she wanted me to go help out with the cleaning of a park in our neighborhood. That's when I heard something unbelievable. A few of the housewives came up to me.
Where is Yuko today? Is she playing around with that guy again?
That's what they whispered to me. From what they told me, Yuko was sometimes seen walking with a young guy. They had pictures to prove it. I was shocked.
You know how Yuko seems kind of arrogant and bossy. She talks to people after she looks down on them.
There are many people who are angry with Yuko. And one of them saw Yuko walking with this young guy.
It seemed that Yuko was telling the other housewives that the husband's job is the wife's status as well. Yuko would ignore those whose husbands worked for small companies by saying, I don't want to be associated with the poor people. For people whose husbands worked in the cleaning industry, she would tell them, don't come near me because you're dirty. The housewives said,
Yuko is often like that.
and each time they said so, I'm sorry about that. I could only apologize on her behalf. I really was no good judge in terms of choosing the right woman. After that, I asked these housewives to send me the pictures they took. I then hired a private detective to find out what Yuko was up to. There were pictures of the man's face. Yuko had also been meeting with the man at a cafe in front of the train station, where people could easily see them. She must have thought I'd be easily deceived. All of this made it easier for me to do my research. In just 1 week, I was able to gather enough evidence. Yuko didn't know that I had tons of evidence, and as usual, she was shouting at me.
Why are you taking it easy? You think you can be like that when your earnings is so low? Go and clean the bathtub.
I worked overtime yesterday, so I'm tired. Please let me rest just for today. You could do the house chores.
What? You're answering me back? If you don't do what I say, I'm going to divorce you.
I had simulated this sort of conversation before, but I didn't think it would follow my script so well.
What are you laughing about?
Sure, let's get a divorce.
What? What? What are you saying? If you divorce me, my dad will stop ordering from your company. I'll get the parental rights too. If you dare to get a divorce, why don't you?
We'll be fine without the orders from your family. This past year, we've been working on expanding our online business. We've been able to get orders for costumes and uniforms online. You know how I used to work in the IT industry? I used my knowledge for uniform orders, and it worked unexpectedly well. That's right. This past year, I've worked hard on starting our online business. because Yuko had been looking down on me, saying that I worked for a poor little factory. Our products are well made, but our service after the products have been sold is also very good. In the beginning, the number of orders wasn't so big, but as the word started to get out, the larger share of profits was coming in from the orders made online, rather than from local schools and kindergartens. So that's why we don't need to rely on your family anymore. And why I no longer need to work for you like a servant.
Oh god. What? What are you talking about?
I'll be sending you a bill for the consolation money. And I plan to fight over the parental custody, so be prepared. I showed her the proof of her affair. Her face turned completely pale.
Oh, that's a misunderstanding. That guy, well, he is a friend from my university days.
People don't go to suspicious-looking hotels with a friend, right? Why don't you just give it up and start working part-time so you can pay the consolation fee? Yuko was screaming her head off, but I sent off the proof to my father-in-law. Then my in-laws came rushing to our house and struck Yuko in the face. I am so sorry! Our daughter has done such a terrible thing!
If bad rumors start going around, our kindergarten business will be badly affected. Pretty soon we'll start accepting applications for the next year's students, so we really don't want to have a bad image.
Hey, Dad and Mom, I can't believe you're getting down on your knees to apologize to such a guy.
Be quiet! You get down on your knees and apologize too!
You are no longer our family. I will not allow you to enter our house.
What? Why on earth?
In the end, the consolation money was paid out of Yuko's savings she had before our marriage. The amount she couldn't pay from her own money, her parents would pay for her. She was to pay them back later. This is how I received the whole amount at once. I got parental custody. Yuko resisted, but my in-laws said, "A woman like you who has affairs outside of marriage has no right to raise children!" And that shut Yuko up. The children said,
We want to be with Dad.
so that was the decisive factor. Thanks to my in-laws, who convinced Yuko to agree to a divorce, I took no further action regarding this whole affair. In the end, they experienced a shortage of applicants for the next year's kindergarten batch. The in-laws, "The bad rumors about Yuko caused it all!" lamented over the situation. But it seems that a bigger kindergarten had been built in the neighborhood, so that the applicants had gone over to them instead. We'll never know the truth behind the shortage of applicants. In any case, Yuko had to take responsibility for the applicants' shortage and was driven out of her parents' house. In order to pay back her parents for the consolation money, I hear that she's working from morning to night at a farm her mother's friend is managing. I received an email like this from a free email address, but I erased it and blocked the address as well. From now on, I hope to live in peace. Anyway, I think I'll take a trip with my children somewhere as a way of apologizing to them for all this mess. Of course, the money will be coming from the consolation money paid by Yuko's lover. I think I'll be forgiven if I use it to get rid of all the gloom.